I'm David Taub, co-creator of nextlevelguitar.com, and now we're going to show you your first batch of chords, and I'm going to show you the proper fret hand technique, whether you're playing acoustic or electric. It's so important that you learn the proper way to fret chords, the proper wrist position, the proper fingering. If you don't get this down or you're not doing it properly, it's going to lead to a lot of bad habits that you're going to have to undo later. It's going to lead to a lot of undue frustration. Remember I said guitar is a staircase? You know, this is where you really were building that solid foundation. So important that you get these technique principles down. So much of this is just muscle memory. It's just getting this hand, these fingers, to do what you want with them. Go to the right chord repeatedly over and over. So you could sit there, you know, in front of your TV and just try to finger these chords. Or maybe when you're driving, once you learn the chords, you know, obviously concentrate on the road, but, you know, try to get that chord positioning with your fingers on the steering wheel. So much of this is just muscle memory. See, I can play these chords and go through them while I'm talking to you because it's automatic for me. And it will be for you too. You know, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not sending a message down saying, okay, second finger move from the third fret of the, you know, low E string to the first fret of, you know what I mean? It's happening automatically. I've trained myself. My muscle memory is there, and yours will too. At first, it's going to be a fight to get those fingers to move or get them in the proper position. But, you know, it's harder at first. It gets easier with time, especially with the right techniques and the right way to be changing chords and fingering chords, and that's why we're really concentrating on these at first. Just so you know what I'm talking about when I rattle off certain notes or certain things, the strings on the guitar from low to high or from thickest to thinnest are low E, A, D, G, B, E. That's called standard tuning, standard A440 tuning. Low to high, E, A, D, G, B, E. You want to remember that? Just remember this, an acronym. Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. EADGBE. All right? And then these wires, metal pieces going this way on the guitar, right, all the way down, those are the frets, and those frets are numbered. This first one you might think is a fret, this plastic piece down here, but that's actually the nut. And the frets start with the first fret, second fret, third, fourth, fifth, and it just goes right in order. And a lot of times you'll have those dots. Those are the fret markers. And they'll be, you know, on the neck of the guitar and also up on the top. And those kind of quickly you can find your way on the guitar, because I'll say go to the third fret, low E string, or go to the third fret on the A string, and you go right to that dot, right, because that's the third fret. And a lot of times most guitars have them third fret a dot, a fifth fret a dot, seventh, ninth, 12th frets, usually 2 dots. Pretty standard, whether it's acoustic or electric, most guitars have them. So remember our 3 goals. We're going to learn some chords, we're going to learn to strum and play rhythmically, and then we're going to learn to change chords. Then we could be playing songs, right? So the first goal is learning some chords. So that's what we're going to do right now. And through this lesson, I'm going to show you your first batch of chords, about a dozen or so chords, right? Now, if you get even the first 9 of these chords down, you could be using those to play songs that fast. Some of the greatest songs ever written, you're going to be so amazed, may only be 3 or 4 chords. That's it. And a lot of these basic open position chords, called open position because most of them will have open strings with them, along with fretted notes. A lot of times you're going to see these same chords and these same chord changes, G to D, or, you know, E minor to A, whatever, G to E minor. You'll see those same changes over and over again. You know, it might just be a little different rhythm or different lyrics sung on top of it, different melody line. But it's so amazing how you could play thousands and thousands of songs with just 9 or 10 chords. And obviously once you go on in your guitar journey, you're going to learn more chords, you know, and eventually add bar chords to them. And once you add bar chords to these basic chords, you know, you'll probably be able to play 80% of the songs ever written. It's just amazing. You know, over and over and over, you'll see the same chords, the same chord changes. That's why we get good at the basics, at these fundamentals. You know, the guitar is like a staircase. You have to traverse step 1 before you get to step 2, and you're building on it. And I'm going to show you the proper way to play, taking all the frustration out of it, right? And making it as easy as possible, forcing you to succeed. Playing songs within these first 5 lessons. I'm going to go in on a tight shot of the neck so you can see this up close, and I'm going to show you a batch of chords. And I'm going to show you the first bunch in pairs. Learn them in pairs, and what you're going to be practicing is obviously I'm going to show you the fingering, I'm going to show you how to play them. Like the first chord is going to be E minor. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be trying to get all the notes to ring true. No dead strings, meaning when you play, I don't want to hear this. Hear that? That's because I'm not on my fingertips. Another finger is inadvertently hit a different string that it shouldn't be, or my hand is not in the right position. And you're going to be finding that getting all the notes to ring true on chords is not easy, and it's going to take you a little while to get this down, but I really want you to work on it to where you can just kind of arpeggiate or playing the notes one at a time. All the chords I'm showing you and getting them down, and also memorizing them. So if I say, okay, play an E minor, you'll go right to E minor and start playing it. Or if I say, okay, play a G chord, you're going to know that chord, because these basic chords are used in so many songs, you know, throughout the beginning of music. Now remember, this is the nut, this is the first fret, second fret, third fret there with the dot. Here we have low to high, low E, A, D, G, B, and high E strings. All right, so what you're going to do on guitar, your fingers are numbered. 1 is your pointer finger, 2 is the middle finger, 3 is your ring finger, 4 is the pinky, T would be thumb, but that's the nomenclature. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you want to do, the first chord is going to be E minor. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our first finger and put it on the second fret of the A string. Get that nice clear note, and then right below it, just put your second finger on that D string. Get that note to ring out, and then all the other strings, the low E, the G, the B, the E, and you play them open, meaning you're not fretting any other notes with them. So that is kind of the shape. Now notice when I'm doing this, proper fret hand technique. My wrist is down, not up like this. My thumb is in the back of the neck, about even with the first or second finger, or between the first and second finger, not way over here. Not holding this like the baseball bat, okay? Get that thumb over this way. Now, the pinky, try to keep it attached to the third finger. The fingers should stay as close to the strings as possible, not out like this. Everything in nice and tight in this nice, tight cluster. For now, the wrist is kept down, okay? Eventually we'll bring it up a little bit to help mute strings, but for now this is the best way to learn. So that is your proper fret hand technique. Remember, always, 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 the fingers as close to the strings as possible in this nice, tight kind of cluster, not opened up. You never want to do this even when you're changing chords, and you never want to be way out of position. Always in as close to the strings. Pretend the strings are magnetically attracted to your fingers. So there's that E minor chord. Look at the position of the third and the fourth fingers. The pinky, attach it to that third finger, not out here. Attach it to it. So it's kind of hitching a ride. Play the strings one at a time. Make sure you hear no dead strings, so you shouldn't hear this. See now, because you want to be on your fingertips. If you get lazy and you're kind of flattening your fingers, then this underside might be hitting the high E string, and you get those muted string, those dead string sounds. So I want you to really work on getting this to sound good. Push down hard, but not, you're not cranking out, just hard enough to where you can fret that note. And try to be, when you're fretting notes, right behind the fret, not way back here, right up here, because we're at the second fret for this chord, E minor. Remember, one string at a time. Should sound like that, okay? Now I'm going to give you these chords in pairs. The next chord I want you to learn is a chord called A suspended second, or A sus2. I'm writing these out on the screen as we go. And what you want to do for this chord is you just take the E minor chord that you know. I'll just get my other two fingers out of here just for now. And all you're going to do is you're going to drop them down one string each. That's all it is. It's the same exact second fret. You're just dropping them down. So now my first finger is going to play second fret on the D string. And my third finger is going to play second fret on the G string. And all the other strings are open except this time we are not playing the low E. Okay, so this chord sounds like this. It's just you're playing those 5 strings. So you want to get those notes to ring clearly and try not to hit that low E string. All right, there's another good look at that chord. Remember, on your fingertips, again, notice pinky attached to the 3rd finger, everything in close, not apart. Good fret hand technique. Look at the thumb also. The thumb is about even with that 1st finger or 2nd finger or right in between the 2. Not this, over here. A sus2, E minor. All right, get those down and practice them. There's a reason why I'm teaching the chords in this order, and you'll soon find out. But the next chord you're going to learn is a chord called A minor 9. The little M means minor. If you don't see anything next to the chord initial, it's a major chord. So all you're going to do is you're going to take that A sus2 chord. I'm just getting my other fingers out of the way. And you're just going to slide that all the way to the 5th fret right here. And you're going to play the exact same thing. Again, you're not playing the low E string. And that's an A minor 9. All right? So we're going to kind of practice moving, going from that. See, I'm kind of getting you practicing musical things. All right? And that's going to be our first chord change when you get there. So for now, E minor, A suspended 2nd, A minor 9. And a great little practice thing that you could be doing while you're learning these chords is play the chord like the E minor chord, and then just kind of take your fingers off so they're not on the strings, and then try to get them back on in the exact same position. E minor, come off, back on, E minor. This is going to be almost like practice for when we're changing chords. Now when I say come off, don't come apart and don't come way out, just come off a little bit. Like we're going to go to another chord, but we're going back to that E minor. And try that with all the chords, coming off, coming back on, like E major when you get to that one. Come off. That'll be a little harder because you have 3 fingers. Come off, and then go right back on. See if you can get them all to ring out true. Do that with all the chords. The next 2 chords I want you to learn are E major and A minor. E major sounds like this. What you're going to do, we'll start it off like, pretend like you're playing an E minor, but with your 2nd and 3rd fingers, right, on that 2nd fret of the A and D string. And then we're going to add our 1st finger to the 1st fret of the G string. So you have this chord, E major. Remember, your goal is to get all the notes to ring true. No dead strings. There's this little pocket in here with these chords. See, I'm not flat. A little pocket, so I'm not hitting these other strings. Everything sounds true, rings true. Notice, again, the pinky is hitching a ride on that 3rd finger. To play, that's E major. To play A minor, you're going to do this exact same shape or voicing, just drop everything down 1 set of strings, right? 1 string each. So now your 1st finger's on the 1st fret of the B string, and your 2nd and 3rd fingers are on the 2nd fret of the D and G. And that chord looks like this. Sounds like that, A minor. You're not playing the low E string. Remember, you want to get these chords sounding good and memorize them. A minor, E major, A minor. The next 2 chords are D major and D suspended 2nd. The D major chord looks like this, and what you're going to do is you're going to put your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, 2nd finger on 2nd fret of the high E string, and your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. You're going to play the open D string, and you're not going to play the low E or the A, so it's only these 4 strings. Very nice sounding chord. Now if you take off that second finger, right? Just lift it off that high E string. You now have a D suspended second. Listen to the difference. Here it is on D major, off. So you see, I'm getting you to play different chord shapes that are very easy. They're only a finger away at first, to make it easier on your journey. Okay, again, your goal, get all the notes to ring true. Another chord you're going to be working on, A major, and that's where you're going to take 3 fingers and jam them in the 2nd fret. First finger on the 2nd fret of the D, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the G, 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the B string. Open high E string and open A string. Do not play the low E string. A major sounds like this. While you're learning more, you could watch the next video where we're going to do some strumming, because we'll use those chords in the strumming. But I'm going to continue with this video so you have these chords in your library and you could start picking them off one a week. Another great chord you want to learn at first is C major. This one is going to be a little harder. These are going to be progressively harder. But no matter what the chord is, notice the technique is the same. On the fingertips, wrist is down, pinky hitching a ride on the 3rd finger, and the thumb in the back of the neck, about even with that 2nd finger between the 1st and 2nd. That's critical. You have to have that good fret hand technique. Here's what C major sounds like. Okay, so you have your 1st finger on that 1st fret of the B string. You're playing an open high E, open G, 2nd finger on that 2nd fret of the D string, and 3rd finger is on the 3rd fret of the A string. And that's C major. You do not play the low E. Chord based off of that, just lift off that 1st finger, and now you have a C major 7. Isn't that a beautiful chord? C major, take it off, C major 7. Have some fun with that. It's really easy. Right? Remember, we're learning a lot of these chords in pairs because I'm making it easy for you to expand your chord library and just go right down the strings, get them all to sound clean. It's going to take a while. Next chord is the 4th finger chord we're going to learn, G major. That's what it sounds like. You're going to use your 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the low E, 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. You're going to play open D, open G, and then your 3rd finger, 3rd fret of the B, pinky is on the 3rd fret of the high E. All together, there's a good look at that chord. Try to get all those strings to ring out. And then a very easy chord that's based off of that chord as far as fingering is just leave these 2 fingers down, the 3rd and 4th, just drop the 1st and 2nd down 1 string each. So now my 2nd finger is at the 3rd fret of the A string, and my 1st finger is on the 2nd fret of the D string. And I'm not playing the low E. And this chord is called C add 9. Don't let any of these names intimidate you. The reason I'm showing you that is because if you know the G, it's nothing just to drop this down, and it makes a great change. Remember, you don't have to, like I said before, you don't have to get all these chords down to watch the next video in the series on strumming, because we're going to be able to play some songs, play some progressions with just a couple of chords. But I'm giving you some to have in your library. G, C add 9. Okay, so remember, use that proper fret hand technique. That wrist is down at first. Okay, your fingers are in that tight cluster. They're not out. You're not coming apart or away from the guitar neck. All right, everything is in close. Your fingers are magnetically attracted to the strings. You're on your fingertips. So important. You're pressing down, and I know it's going to hurt at first, and your fingertips are going to be sore. You might have a little bit of wrist soreness, and that's normal at first, but you have to build up the calluses on your fingertips, and eventually you won't even feel it. So some soreness is going to be there for the first few weeks, definitely. And but you'll see your skin kind of rip open and you'll be like, yeah, that's like a merit badge, because then it'll come back thicker and tougher. And eventually you won't feel pressing down on the strings, You can do it. So use that proper fret hand technique. Practice the chords. Practice, like I showed you, coming off the chord and back on, off the chord and back on. So learn the first 4 or 5 and then go to the next video lesson where I'm talking about strumming and rhythm, because you can do those in tandem, and then also go back, then start learning some more chords. So I gave you a big batch. In this lesson, I gave you a big batch of chords in this lesson. You don't have to learn them all start to finish. Start with them, get a couple down, then go to the next one. So you're going to be working, you could work on multiple things at once. That's the plan of attack. That's going to get you to cover our 3 goals. It might take you a little while. It might take weeks to get that whole first batch, but that's okay. Learn a few, go on to the next one, and keep chipping away at them. After you learn those, the next chords on the dossier would be a chord like D minor, and then maybe F major 7, so you get an F chord in there, and then eventually F. But those are much harder. Start with the easier ones first. We're building here. This is goal 1. Next lesson, goal 2, strumming and rhythm. See you in that one.